Good evening, Free Enterprise fans, and welcome to the inaugural race of Enterprise Legacy. I am Zoe Vermillion. I am joined by the lovely Leggy Starscream. This club idea was my idea, and the admins were so gracious to allow me to get it restreamed every week. So you'll see this on Saturday nights. I'll go a bit into what to expect from this in a moment, but I'm going to let Leggy say some stuff first.
Great Scott, Zoe! I've just come back from the future, and are we doing that bit? I forget. We didn't really talk about this, but anyway, hi everyone. Tonight our actual flag set is going to be a flashback to the past. This is very deeply based off of the highway to the Zenith Zone. Not the Threebus zone that you might be more familiar with.
Yeah, so I created this flag set as kind of what I would consider fairly standard free enterprise play, primarily because my first exposure was the highway to the Zenith Zone flags. What'll happen here is the winner of this race will get to modify the flags going forward. Then we get to choose a flag to modify. I will also choose to modify some flags. Basically, it's like a legacy board game. If you've ever played something like Risk, Pandemic, or Betrayal Legacy. So yeah, it's going to change week to week. There's some story elements that we'll touch on. There's some bit of meta action going on as well, which can influence the racers. It's going to be a great race. We've got two fantastic runners here on the restream. We've got PK4787 and Y2 Sky. I'm loving PK's name scheme. Like,
yeah, who is that last character anyway?
Yeah, who it is? If you've only joined Free Enterprise and watching it through Highway to the Threebus Zone, you may not even realize that Fusoya exists in this game. That was something that was disabled for that tournament, but he is back and available in any of the spots that he can be recruited, which on this flag set would be something that is gated by a key item.
Yeah, so chat is wondering if you're going to read the story intro while we get this started off.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are two little bits of story. Each week is going to have one bit of story kind of setting up for the next race, and then each race also has a small story blurb. For the basically week 0 story, it lays the groundwork for Enterprise Legacy. After arriving at the Fey March and requesting an audience with the King of Monsters, you find yourself before the dangerous Noodle and his queen. He tells you of the multiverse, how at this exact moment there are thousands upon thousands of different iterations of your world. He offers you the chance to visit these different planes, but heed his warning. Changes made and actions performed will have a ripple effect, and each instance of your adventure will be more chaotic than the last. Do you accept the offer? We have like 47 entrants into the club itself, and this race has something like 30 people, so I'd say that people did indeed accept the offer. Something I haven't really revealed anywhere is that kind of the story behind this is that the randomizer itself exists in universe. That story setup was the vanilla game, and the experience of someone playing a vanilla game has now been moved into the randomizer. So it's very meta. It's very silly. It's something that I enjoy doing. Once we start the race, I'll read the other small story blurb. But yeah, I'm excited. Leggy is here. She was my sounding board when I was kind of workshopping this idea and getting it all settled out. It looks like we are underway.
Yeah, we've got that nice Dark Knight start. Double Dark Knight start, my bad.
Oh boy. Oh, hey, there's a magna key.
So, always nice to see that instant underground access. Now all our runners need to do is find that Legend Sword with the Adamant, and I forget. Do we have to kick a butt in this particular flag set?
We do. We do still have to kick a butt. Forging the crystal forging or word the crystal. This is not the one where you also get the Excalibur. You get the crystal in place of the Excalibur. So this forge will not be giving your Cecil any sort of good weaponry, just your access for Zeromus.
Yeah, always a little unfortunate, but it looks like our runner's off to a fairly standard start. Going to be looting out Baron. For some reason in this iteration of the multiverse, Todd is still smelling.
Yeah, and it seems like Bayan is on a break and is chilling with the head engineer of Baron, so that's kind of cool.
We do find an Earth Hammer in that box, in those boxes in the back there, so that'll be nice if our runners want to come back and grab that sit at some point.
Yeah, that is definitely going to be useful. A lot of this flag set is them going to be clearing out bosses and locations, looking for those two pieces of the forge, as well as a way to get to Zeromus, and then your standard form your party, find how to grind and go from there. There is one small twist. Enterprise Legacy each week is going to have what I like to call a meta objective, something that is not in the game itself, and it is arbitrarily decided upon by me, which, if it is fulfilled by any of the top 3 runners, that will trigger another flag change to the flag set. The meta objective for this race is to fade Antlion.
Yeah, so on the one hand, because we have so many spots open to us already here, it's entirely possible that Antlion might just not be required. On the other hand, if Antlion has either half the forge or, say, a darkness crystal and the pass is in an inconvenient spot, that meta objective might not actually be completable today.
Yeah, and if that meta objective is not met today, it does stay active and it will roll over until it is met. This could lead to a circumstance where we have 5 or 6 meta objectives for a single race, just waiting for them to be fulfilled. That adds a bit of chaos to it, but it also influences our runners' routing decisions. Do you want to fulfill the meta objective, see what's in the mystery box, or do you want to do your best to not fulfill it and not have whatever flag is waiting added to the pool?
I mean, some flags are nice.
Yeah. Whether it's a boon or an obstacle is not known until it is triggered. So it could be something that makes your game easier or provides more power to the player, or it could be something that makes this start venturing into kata territory.
But we do have a early Job Dwarf check from YT Sky. Also pulls a Sylph and a Ninja Sword and a Boomerang out of that back Dwarven box set.
Yeah, that was just an Edge starter kit right there.
Yeah, finds heroin robes for sale in the Tamra armor shop.
And hourglasses in the Tomra shop. That is great. One thing is that we are on both T standard and S standard. So your powerful G items, Hourglass 2s, Sirens, Bacchus wines, those will all be available, coffins, what have you, in gated shops with a 90% probability. But we see a bit of a lover's quarrel here on top of Mount Hobbs. We have a DKC boss and a Rosa.
Yeah, whereas YT Sky is diving down into the Fame Arch, going to pull that free key item, or potential free key item. But PK takes out the Dark Knight, gets Rosa in his party. Ooh, YT Sky pulls a cursed ring out of one of the boxes down in the Fame Arch. That's going to be nice to help set up for the Zeromus fight. It looks like the key item down here is a hook.
Yep, so that Mammoth Key Start and the hook, well, we have both our routes underground, so that's great. Now with that hook in hand, Maybe we have a particularly trolly demist at the king queen spot. Who knows? We'll find out, hopefully. And then just for people in chat to know, we have 2 runners featured here on the race stream tonight, but this race has 33 entrants. It's a very big race.
Yeah, and it looks like we have coffins for sale down here in the Fame Arch item shop. That will be a nice item in case our runners run into one of the cheesable bosses, or if they throw it at a sirened up King of the Fame Arch's Wyvern. Duly noted.
You thought it was going to be a danger noodle, but no, it was me, Wyvern.
So yeah, looks like Y2 Sky is just going to finish looting out back here while PK opens up the Edge Starter Kit in the Dwarf town.
Y2 Sky en route over to Sylph Cave, probably going to talk to Yang to set up Sheila 1. At this point, we have a number of key item locations open to us. It is a matter of what our runners want to do. These 2 Cecils cannot do a whole lot without black swords, so ordeals is probably a top priority for them. A kind of interesting thing about having 2 Cecils already is that C maybe is not on, which means there's only 1 dupe, I believe, in the entire seed, and we got it at the start.
It's also of note that Y2 Sky is rocking black swords on both those Cecils already.
Oh, I missed the second one. I saw one of them. I didn't realize the second one had it. So yeah, that can help you get through some of these early bosses like Football Defense or Antlion, if you want to just be a heal, I guess.
Yeah, and plus, in a pinch, the Black Sword does have a chance to proc the Swoon status effect, which is a one-shot, so some bosses can, in fact, be cheesed.
Yeah, and you can actually do a really tricky thing, because we have those Hourglass 2s that were for sale. If you stop an enemy, they have 0 ATB, the Black Sword will proc with 100% consistency. So you can cheese something like a Dark Imps or Baron Guards or Officer Soldier, but you'll still need to have your Dark Knight Cecil at that point. So if you make it a Paladin, no longer take advantage of that.
Indeed. YT Sky back over ground, going to loot out Damsian. Let's see if there's anything interesting to be found here. Poison Axe is nice.
Poison Axe is nice. You'll probably be launching the hovercraft here. Might check the character in Cave Eblin. We do not have free characters on in this flag set, so launching the hovercraft does not also grant you the character that would be in Damsian, nor are there characters in Mysidia, Watery Pass, or in on Mount Ordeals.
Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, it is really nice to see 100% of those boxes filled again after all this time down in the 3-miss zone.
Yeah, T-Sparse, like when you play with T-Sparse for a few months and you turn it off, you're like, wow, there's just so much treasure.
Yeah, YT Sky immediately picking up that hovercraft, as you said. And of course, one of the interesting questions about a flag set that opened up this quickly is the infamous question of where the heck is D-Mist going to be?
Yeah, there is plenty of locations. We will see a boss location here upon getting the character, but we will not see whoever is at the Vanilla King Queen Eblin spot. So that could be potentially very trolly. For those of you that admired my work during the 3-miss zone, I did indeed roll this seed for the first race of Enterprise Legacy, so who knows what I've got up my sleeve.
Yeah, a Bacchus for sale in the Cave Eblin shop, so that will be useful with this double Paladin party, because I assume they're going to become Paladins eventually.
Using Sylph on Yang as if he hasn't gotten enough of Sylphs in his face. And Y2 Sky finds a traitor here being burned by a lunar sparkle. Well, we know it's not Wyvern. Could be a number of others. I doubt we'll see that there. Even if we do have to come here for a demist hunt, with underground access already in place, there's no need to even fight that boss unless you just want to get out of the hook route faster, I guess.
Yeah. Looks like PK is deciding to follow that Sylph check all the way to its natural conclusion, going straight into Fabul.
Yeah, this gives a free heal both before and after the fight for Fabul defense. So being at 1 HP after diving Fey March in the Sylph Cave, you don't have to waste time healing. Plus you get the key item check from the King of Fabul, and then having already checked Sylph Cave, the Sheila 1 check. So at most we'll have a double dip of Fabul. It's not the coveted triple dip that Rivers so loves to fish for, but it'll do.
Yeah, and I do appreciate this play of going around, going for relatively easy checks at this point, trying to fish for characters as well. Looks like the Antlion is attacking Fabul today.
Yeah, I think the Antlion heard that we're planning on fading its nest.
So on the one hand, that'll be a little rough. On the other hand, the counters will not be procced by Rosa's aim command. And she's got an Elven bow equipped. So I think this should be doable for PK.
Yeah, this shouldn't be too bad. Cecils are hitting pretty hard. The counter hits like not super hard here because of the magic stat at this location, but with the HP tools you have, it is hitting for a significant chunk of your HP pool.
Yeah, just because it's hitting for less than 100 doesn't mean that it's not going to hurt when you only have 200 health.
And Y2 Sky now heading over to Mount Hobbs will see the Dark Knight Cecil boss across from Rosa. Having Rosa is always a great benefit for a party at any point in the game. She's great early game, she's great mid game, she's great late game. Orm is a fantastic white mage, especially early and mid game, but Rosa outclasses her by the end.
Yeah. PK has finished off the Antlion, and we'll be getting that key item check momentarily. It is a Sand Ruby, so that's another character check for PK.
Yep, so that is what we call a gated character spot, so that could be Edge or Fu, as well as any of the other characters. If my math is correct, it will not be a Cecil, a Rosa, or a Kayn, but I am more than happy to be proven wrong, as I have been many times while on the microphone here.
And that is a Pink Tail from Sheila, which is unfortunately not going to lead to another key item, but it will lead to a nice piece of gear that might be worth stopping by if you find that rat tail.
Yeah, it'll reward a tier 7 item. With this party, what you're probably looking for most is a crystal sword, a dragoon spear, maybe a white robe. Our lovely restreamer pointing out that semi-vanilla, because we had an Antlion at Fabul that rewarded the Sand Ruby, which is Antlion's normal reward. So I think the seed is suffering from off by 1 errors.
Look, I'm just willing to call it a vanilla twist.
Vanilla swirl. I think Gambit just really wants me to say Black Forest. And PK heading over to Damsian, going to do some looting, likely going to go ahead and launch his hovercraft. The Pink Tail, it will be a time investment, but it will be a potentially very useful piece of loot. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see him drop the hovercraft there after maybe checking the hook character. And Y2 Sky is going to be fighting his Antlion. He should have a bit of a faster time. He does have what I believe was a Flame Spear equipped to his cane, and the jump command also bypasses the counter. So he should not be taking nearly as many counterattacks as PK did.
Yeah, and PK has launched his hovercraft. We'll see which particular set of checks he goes around and makes. Looks to be checking the waterfall to see who's taking a bath here, just in case it's a cheeky demist. Looks like it's just an Odin.
Just an Odin taking a shower. How rude, PK. You didn't even knock first. One thing I just want to point out that I'm already kind of finding fascinating, and I'm curious how our other 31 runners are handling this, is both these runners seem to be committed to fading Antlion. Just that little meta twist to the club format really has kind of changed what we would consider typical early game routing, because Antlion by this point would probably have been done. And that's probably the tier 7 item you wanted the least based off your current party composition.
Yeah. Well, I don't think PK has gone to check the Sand Ruby spot yet.
I don't believe so, no. But there will be Iridia in this seed somewhere. Potentially on the Giant, so that's not going to happen. But every character will appear at least once.
Yeah, so if Iridia just happens to be that Sand Ruby character, that Bahamut Orb, picking up that Bahamut Orb is going to be a wonderful pickup. But even if you manage not to find Iridia, it's still a massive pile of cash sitting there in your inventory.
Yeah, worst case scenario, you sell it to fund a Siren grind or the Bacchuses you need for a Berserker Strat Zeromus fight. There are plenty of uses for that Bahamut outside of just making Iridia learn it.
Yeah, speaking of Sirens, I have not seen any in shops yet.
I don't believe we have. I don't know. I believe we've checked all the underground shops as well as the Cave Island shops, so they could be on the moon in the Hummingway shop, but I believe that is our last opportunity to have them present in this seed.
Mm-hmm. Of course, you can still have Edge here to steal them. I don't know which twin that is.
This is Porum, because this ponytail is on the left, which means that she is right-handed, and therefore it's Porum.
Fair enough.
So we got a couple white mages, a couple of dark knights, and a dragoon.
So they all walk into a bar.
Bartender says, I can sell you one siren for 4,000 GP.
The Dark Knight says, fine.
End of joke.
Looks like Y2 Sky is now heading up the mountain, going to say goodbye to the Dark Knights relatively soon.
Did you see the notification on PK's side? It said that you joined. Like, so touching.
I mean, I'm already here.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
It wasn't talking to me because it said you joined, not that I joined.
Yeah, so obviously you got it wrong because I'm already here.
May have to ask PK who his game was talking to. Oh, that's a Gungnir.
Ooh, that's a nice pickup. So we've got...
Hold on, I must interrupt. Scala, it's Foos on first.
That was a very important interruption, I agree.
Anyway, PK is going towards the deals.
Yeah, it looks like both of our runners are going to be taking on this, I'm going to call it a gauntlet. Words have meanings, but I'm going to call this a short gauntlet of 3 bosses.
Oh, so this is funny because when we grabbed the Thor Rage from the bottom of this mountain, I was like, man, it'd be kind of funny if there was a Kainatsu up here.
Yep, so there's everyone's least favorite turtle man.
This bot not particularly dangerous, not a ton of HP. By the time it gets a wave off, if it even does, you will have depleted it to where it's going to do double digits or less. Kanato's wave attack does anywhere between 40 and 60%, 4 and 6% of his remaining HP. So low HP spots, not very dangerous whatsoever.
Yeah, and Lighting Sky gets the first Thor Rage off a little early, but the second one clears out the water just fine.
And PK is going to be summoning the Fiend of Water in one of the 2 Fiend of Earth spots. So that's interesting. White Sky taking advantage of having that Ice Brand, throwing that on Kane when Kainatsu does not have the water up. He is weak to ice. So that was very heads up play there.
Yeah. Turtle goes down right as PK gets into it.
PK throws off the Zeus Rage, deals a good chunk of damage, but got it in a little bit before he probably wanted to. He probably wanted to both hit that lightning weakness and lower the water. It'll still puts a huge dent in Kanatsu's HP pool, and this fight will be over here fairly soon.
As we're going to see who's on second.
Doc's on second.
I am not on it enough to have a good follow-up. But we find Dr. Luggage here in the back attack spot. This spot can be a little tricky, but the nice thing about the Dr. Luge fight is that the HP is split up 4 different ways.
Yeah, so he'll get off his starting script here, which is unfortunate because it is rather time consuming. But this spot does normally have a decent HP pool for this portion of the game because it is supposed to be Mylon Zed. It's supposed to be your first true fight with a fiend. But when it's split up across 4 units, it's really not that big a deal. And while we have simultaneous Luge fights, shout outs to our team behind the scenes here. We got Scarlet Kitty on the restream, and Nth is our tracker. This is their first time working as part of the crew, and I'm so happy to have them aboard for this first Enterprise Legacy race. So welcome to the team, Nth.
Yeah, PK throws out the Grimoire, rolls a Sylph, which takes out the Luge.
Y2 Sky is into the second phase here. Going to be taking some beams. Beam does 10% of your character's max hit points. His laser attack does a percentage of Luge's remaining HP, I believe. But we're not even going to see that as that Doctor goes down. And this is always a fun spot to find Luge because we get to poison walk literally 5 steps and then it's gone. Also obligatory, I love the bloop sound effect.
But yeah, one of the nice things about Mount Ordeals is that the going into the shrine is also yet another spot where you get full healed. And that's a tower key.
No keyless tower today, but this also will turn both of these Dark Knights into Paladins. We don't have the most amazing weaponry for them, but we have the Poison Axe, we have the Ice Brand, and it looks like Kolbez is here trying to stop his brother from becoming a Paladin. That's interesting.
Sounds kind of rude.
Right? Come on, big bro. Mom says it's my turn to be a Paladin.
Look, I mean, I think this is more of a Luke going into the cave and finding Darth Vader. You have the ultimate evil in your eyes that's secretly related to you.
I mean, isn't the story of Final Fantasy IV basically just like Japanese Star Wars? Because
Yes.
you've got the cave scene, you've got, you know, Golbez in the Darth Vader role, and then you've got Zemus in the Emperor Palpatine role. Like, that's just Final Fantasy IV.
That's just hashtag lore.
I think that makes Fusoya Yoda.
Yeah, that checks out.
Or Fubi Obi-Wan.
No, Fu comes into the narrative too late to be Obi-Wan.
That's true.
If anything, Tella is Obi-Wan because he dies.
There we go. Yeah, spoilers. Sorry for a nearly 50-year-old film at this point.
Jesus, I don't want to think about that.
Nope. I didn't need that in my life.
Anyway, both of our runners are going to make very short work of this Man of Darkness.
It's only 43 years old. I don't know if that makes me feel better. The Y2 Sky with a couple paladins in hand and some Tellus somewhere now knowing the media spell and all of his other spells. We trekking down ordeals, and let's see what do we have left. If you're still looking to fade Antlion, you've got Baron Inn, you've got Dwarf Castle, you've got Tower and Super Cannon Room, you've got the Feymarsh bosses, as well as a potential Demist Hunt.
Indeed. And that Baron Inn is looking very appealing, at least in my mind, because you do have that Cid there, and you've still got that Earthhammer in your back pocket.
Yeah, Y2 Sky equipping a bow and arrow to each of his Cecils and then unequipping them. This enables the back row glitch, which will allow him to not only deal full damage from the back row, but also deal full damage to enemies that are in the back row, regardless of his position. If you're not familiar with the back row glitch, basically, once that bit is set on a character saying, hey, they have a back row weapon equipped, it's never turned off. There's no mechanism in the game that turns that off, and so it's just stuck there.
Mm-hmm.
That is perhaps the worst dwarf shop I have ever seen.
Oof, yeah. That is, I'm just gonna straight up call it brutal.
Yeah, heals, cure ones, and eye drops. If we were doing low level strats, the eye drops could be useful. But with two paladin Cecils, you don't necessarily need to buy heal pots, and cure ones are just laughably not really that useful. Unless you want to use Eddie's heal command, I guess.
Look, some days we just want to make choices.
PK making a choice to come here to Baron Inn, take out this Baigen, and show us who the second boss is, which will allow him not only to get a key item check, but also add that Cid to his party, giving him a full party of 5. Because Y2 Sky has turned in that Sand Ruby for the Forum. So,
yeah. Of course, the second boss can be fairly tricky if you aren't prepared for the sudden upgrade in power. Looks like a mom bomb.
Yeah, so this is annoying for multiple reasons. One, this spot, it's very hard. It is very slow. And it normally only has about 4,000 hit points. Mom Bomb has a part of her script that effectively gives her 9,000 extra hit points if you want to kill her before she explodes. So this fight is not going to be quick. So PK whittling down Mom Bomb's hit points here. trying to at least trigger the explosion phase. Will likely not be trying to push through that extra hit points, will eat the explosion and then use potentially one of his J items to clear out the little bombs. Y2 Sky is now joining PK in this location after having done some looting and shopping underground. Will be taking down his Baigen with a really smart use of a Zeus Rage, be able to hit all three of them for enough damage to clear it out. I also cannot tell what PK's names are trying to tell us right now. Be Wish You Be. Sounds like something I would see on the wall of like a restaurant bathroom. It sounds deep, but it's ultimately meaningless.
Look, I'm just saying Mom Bomb would be a great flavor for wings.
Oh, can we open up a Final Fantasy IV themed food truck?
I mean, we've already got one customer in chat.
All right, well, PK has gotten through the explosion phase. Doesn't appear to have any more J items to take out these little bombs, but they only take about one swing, so they will be falling here shortly. And there they go, right as Y2 Sky triggers the explosion on his side.
Yep. Looks like it's a rat tail. So that is yet another key item check our runners can make right away. Y2 Sky making good use of that blizzard to just take out all the little bombs.
Yeah, and basically made up the time that he had lost by going underground to do that brief dip into Dwarf Castle. Only a few seconds behind PK leaving the Baron in here.
Yeah, so PK already sprinting on over, going to give us that rat tail check. Because now, if this doesn't turn into anything, we're down to underground locations for key item checks.
Well, there's our Zeromus access. So if we can get both pieces of the forge here on the blue planet, then that would be go mode without needing to go to the moon. But I have to wonder if our runners are maybe sweating a little bit thinking about that antlion.
Yeah. Like, honestly, the meta objective thing is interesting because on the one hand, all you need is one of the top three runners to fade antlion. So if you're in a place where you just want to win, you can go for it without, spoiling the fun for everyone else. On the other hand, if everyone thinks like that, then you run into an issue. Zoe, did you just say, I feel like making the prisoner's dilemma happen today when you were designing this?
I mean, either that or it's just like the world's largest game of free enterprise chicken. Where do you think I'm going to get the hot wings from?
Apologies for the chicken noises. I try. But yeah, it looks like Y2 Sky has decided that the next place to go is, in fact, the Dwarf Castle. And we'll see how that works out. Looks like PK is making a fairly similar decision.
Yeah, your party still fairly low on levels. May not be wanting to do the tower play, even though you can get 2 key items from there by doing top of tower and super cannon. but if the dwarf castle bosses are fairly kind to you, it's a good chunk of experience, as well as a key item at the end. We do see the lovely dark elf, formerly known as Astos, bouncing around behind the throne of King Giat, and this...
Look, he just wants another crown.
Yeah, he just wants the crown.
It didn't work last time, so now he's back in Final Fantasy II to actually get the crown.
Can't believe you just said that with an earshot of me.
I can't believe I said that on a free enterprise stream.
Fastest way to lose your blue name.
But the nice thing is that here at the Dancing Doll spot, the magic power that the Dark Elf has is relatively low, so that triple spell that he opens up with isn't actually doing that much damage to our runners.
Yeah, the second phase is going to hit considerably harder. This spot does have a pretty decent magic power stat, because the dolls themselves don't use any spells, but the big doll does use, I believe, Glance, trying to charm one of your party members, if I'm remembering that correctly, because if you play for Enterprise right, you don't see the big doll, and you need some magic power to give that a better chance of hitting.
Yeah, it could be one of those things where it's dependent on the different phases, and one form has one magic stat, the other form... Who really knows? We do. There is a spreadsheet. I could go look this up.
Both our runners here on the same fight. PK, first one to reveal the Dark Elf's pirate origins.
Yarn me change!
There we go. Say, if you have an hourglass that you purchased from Tomra, Dark Elf's second form is vulnerable to stop as well as weak and a number of other status ailments because it lacks the boss bit. So an hourglass will make the rest of this fight trivial.
Yeah, it looked like whatever bow and arrow combination PK has is doing a healthy chunk of damage to this Dark Elf.
Likely white arrows, if I had to take a guess. Dark Elf's second form absorbs the white spell, but is weak to the holy element when it comes to weapons. And White to Sky going with a similar strategy of using an Hourglass 2 on Dark Elf's second form as PK wraps up the fight and will show us who is in Golbez's spot guarding this key item. We've got a Mylon.
The original flavor or the remix?
And Yang has woken up from his bed in the Sylph Cave and has come to our party's aid. Do you take this Yang, PK?
He's thinking. And gets rid of the Betrayer.
Gets rid of the Betrayer that has a Gungnir. A very interesting choice. Probably looking to not do much more looting. Yang is very powerful with levels, less so gear. And we do see that this is Mylon Zed, the Canadian Scarmillion.
Yeah, it looks like you probably were right about the white arrows, given how much damage Rosa is putting out on everyone's favorite Mylon remix.
And that fight is over fairly quickly. Though I do believe any arrow would have been doing extra damage there and wouldn't stack with the Holy Weakness, because exploiting a flying weakness is actually just an element. It's considered the wind element.
Elemental. But wouldn't Holy Weakness on Undead also come into play?
So Undead are not always weak to Holy, and the White Arrows do not... the White Arrows exploit a Holy Weakness. I don't believe they exploit an Undead weakness.
Fair. I'd have to go check, but we're getting that key item from King Giat. What's Luca got around her neck today? And it's a holy sword.
Well, there is a weapon for one of these Cecils. And if PK happens to luck into an Avenger, that you could have 2 Excal Cecils. We might be gearing up here for some Zerker strats for Zeromus. Y2 Sky finishing up this fight as well. So I'll be interested to see if they both go straight towards tower, because in my mind that's the next logical play if you want to continue fading Antlion, or if we might see some brief divergence.
And of course, it is always nice to see the Excal pre-forged for you. There it is. We found it. Now we know where that Excal got off to.
Yep. I guess Kokol must have dropped it, and then while Luca was out playing outside, swimming in the lava that doesn't actually hurt you, found it and was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna make this into a necklace."
And it looks like Y2 Sky is also doing a little bit of inventory management. Both runners taking the time to set up the back row glitch on their various Cecils.
Yep. So Y2 Sky is done with that. PK went over to do some inventory management outside of the dwarf healing pot room, and Y2 Sky, as well as PK, are both heading to the tower. So in lockstep here, and nobody make a joke that this is Final Fantasy IV and not Final Fantasy VI.
Well, I mean, if they're in lockstep, luckily they've got the tower key to open it.
Oh, that's even worse.
Y2 Sky for the treasure box finds an alert right away.
Yep. Should be able to take this out with a jump from Kane, hopefully. Not quite here. Probably about 450 damage shy. It's taken out by the Cecil, though, and now we just have a Flame Dog to deal with. And we'll get rewarded with a decent piece of loot. The trap chest and lower Babel are above average.
And it's gonna be, once the level up finishes, a crystal bucket.
You don't hate to see it. You've got 2 Cecils. One was only wearing an iron bucket, so crystal bucket definitely increases his defensive prowess for potential cover strats. And at the top of tower, the Seed fighting back against me, saying maybe you didn't feel comfortable coming up here with the levels as they were. We have King Queen Eblin, probably the freest fight in the entire game.
Indeed. Almost makes you sad our runners didn't have to go through the hook route, so they weren't able to do the early check of it. But it does look like Y2 Sky is looking to loot out the entire tower. There are 4 monster and box chests to encounter. There is actually some decent experience at their levels. It looked like the entire party came to level off the last one.
Yeah, the alerts themselves give 2,000 experience. The monsters that they summon, I don't know their experience values well enough, but if you clear out all 4, you're looking at anywhere from 15 to 20,000 experience, most likely. Might be prepping for a top of tower. Will feel probably a bit sad once realizing that it's King Queen Eblin. Pulls a tiara, which would pair very well with the Bahamut summon from the Pink Tail. But as it is, we can just slap that on Rosa for some good defense. But that was a Silk Web.
Yeah. The Silk Web being a very useful item, casts 2 stacks of slow on the enemy it targets. So it basically means you get the maximum amount of slow immediately.
And notably, it works on bosses. And also, that was a second Excal for our second Cecil.
Well, what about 11Z's Excal?
I mean, it's no Crystal Sword, but, 2 Excals, yeah, I'm pretty happy with that.
Geez, Zoe, how come Mom wants your seed to have 2 Excals?
I don't have an answer.
But yeah, I don't actually blame Y2 Sky for taking his time clearing things out on his way up, because that top of tower can be really nasty with the wrong boss up there.
Yep. Stopping at Super Cannon here, showing us the Baron guards. Our lovely tracker tonight pointing out that we have stumbled on the world where Cole is a much more successful businessman with all these X-Cals everywhere. I guess that's why when you forge it, he actually just forges the crystal for you, because he has no need to forge the X-Cal because they're apparently just ubiquitous.
Yeah, they're getting mass produced now. But both of our runners clearing the Super Cannon at about the same time. Y2 Sky opting to open up and clear out some boxes while PK took out the top of the tower.
Yep, so Y2 Sky will be heading up to the top of the tower to defeat King Queen Ebla and get his second X-Cal, whereas PK will be leaving and showing us what this key item is. At this point, if this doesn't result in a key item that gives you more checks, you've got Antlion, you've got the Fey March bosses. You've got a potential D-Mist hunt. I don't think we've seen Mist Cave, or obviously we haven't seen D-Mist at Maga Sisters.
Yeah, and so the real question is, how deep do you want to go to avoid doing that Antlion?
Given that Wyvern is in the Leviathan spot, and I think was it the Dolls in the Queen spot? I would do the Dolls in the Queen spot if I'm really trying to fade Antlion, but I don't know if I would keep going after the meta objective enough to try that Wyvern. I guess with a cursed Sid, we might be able to get the agility needed to get through it, but it is a potentially nasty fight.
And it's like PK is opting to open up a few boxes on the way back down. That X-Cal Cecil being strong enough to one-shot the alerts.
Finds a crystal glove there. Just the one, not a pair. Common misconception of Final Fantasy IV is that it's a gauntlet item. It's actually just a gauntlet, so only the one.
Yeah. If you want another, you just go to Fabul.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah, gonna get that tiara. Probably gonna pick up the crystal bucket as well as he works his way back down. While Y2 Sky sits back, relaxes, and goes through the tragedy of Eblin.
He became conscious.
I mean, so did I this morning.
Yeah, they're just waking up. PK gonna grab this last treasure chest and then leave the Tower of Babel, the lower portion at least. And what's the key item? Here's hoping for something that unlocks key item checks. Darkness Crystal would be neat. Earth Crystal, Luca Key, Twin Harp, Baron Key.
Package. I want package.
Okay, you want package. I want pan. Okay.
The Artemis Bow.
Artemis Bow. Okay, where? Oh, Darkness at Antlion at this point. Is that what we're thinking?
Darkness via Antlion, probably. But it looks like PK is all in on the meta objective. Looks to be going back down to the Fey March.
Like, if there's any runner that I anticipated going all in on fading Antlion, it's PK.
Chad is asking, would someone do the D-Mist at Earth Crystal? And my answer is, gosh, I hope so.
My answer is, I bet PK would. PK heading back in here to the Fey March. Will likely be taking down the Queen spot. If my memory serves correct, it was Dolls. Otherwise, both these fights could be potentially pretty tricky.
Yeah,
should have a Star Veil that he looted, which would facilitate a Wyvern fight potentially. But one reflected Mega Nuke is not going to do it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, with that lack of ready in the party, you can't even use the summon to provoke Wyvern to do another Mega Nuke.
Question in chat, what was that, Antlion? We don't know. This is Enterprise Legacy, which is a take on legacy board games, and one of the things is that there are meta objectives, meaning stuff that I've arbitrarily decided I want the runners to do, and if they do it, they if one of the top 3 runners does it and finishes, then something happens. And the meta objective for this week is Fading Antlion.
So you were right about approximate quantity of enemies at the Queen spot.
Yeah, I was completely wrong about what it was, but it's Mylon, and this is actually probably one of the best things to see at the Queen spot.
Yeah. Looks like PK is just berserking up the Cecils and with their Excaliburs. They are cutting the guests into ribbons. Look at that nearly 6k swing.
Now, if this spot rewards a ribbon, I'm going to call you a witch.
Well, we'll just have to find out. Also, don't compliment me like that with a good time.
You're a dork and I love you. PK has cleared out the ghouls, only needs to take down Mylon himself, whereas YG Sky has just entered the battle. And so both these runners still staying pretty much on the same path. Both opting to play into that meta objective and Fading Antlion. They're down to this and then that Wyvern to potentially give them some progression.
Oh my body. Mylon goes down for PK. We'll see whether or not this was worth it soon. That is music.
So there we go. So that unlocks another key item check as well as one of chat's favorite things. Now the question is, you're here. Do you go ahead and try and steal a kill on this Wyvern, or do you just go straight for that Twin Heart?
If the last part of that first one had been anything other than Wyvern, maybe.
I would give it one good try. If I have a couple of Star Veils, yeah, battle speed 6. Yeah, he's going for it. He's going to try and get through this Wyvern. Pretty risky, but going all in, not wanting to come back to the Fey March. I support this.
Yeah, and if this does work out, this is going to be huge. Because there are definitely going to be a whole bunch of runners in this race who are like, I do not want anything to do with that Wyvern.
What I would so dearly love here is for this to give us our required progression or one of our pieces of Forge. For people in the Free Enterprise community, you may know that all of the clubs are themed around a location. We have the Massidian Jumping Club, the Underground Racing Club, the Lunar Racing Club. Enterprise Legacy seems to lack one, but if you notice our lovely background that Skylar Kitty has provided, the themed location is the Fey March. Because time Fey March is on.
Boo!
You came up with that pun.
Yes, but I'm obligated to boo you anyway. Like, I have to be the audience surrogate in that part of that conversation. But it looks like PK's off to a pretty good start on this Wyvern. You get 2 or 3 more good swings, and the evil dragon is down. Plus, you still have to wait for the script to put up the wall.
Yeah, at this point, you've got the 2 Zerg Cecils that are just wreaking havoc on Wyvern. Shouldn't be very much longer before it dies.
There it goes.
All right, let's see. Is this a required Wyvern, or is this a rabbit hole, or nothing?
That's the adamant.
Oh, that is a required wyvern fight in what is a normally pretty nasty location. I'm excited to see that.
My body was not ready for that. Holy heck.
So, with this in mind, though, there are 2 locations left for them to check. We have Twin Harp and we have Antlion. If Antlion has the Legend Sword, that would be go mode. That's gotta be in the back of our racers' minds.
Yeah, but if the Antlion has the Legend Sword, then Twin Harp has to have the Darkness Crystal. Now, of course, both of these could have key items that lead to these 2 things.
Yeah. Baron Key, Luca Key, and Pan are still out there, as well as the Earth Crystal for items that unlock other key item locations.
Not to mention everyone's favorite Derek Mist.
Yeah, D-Mist is still out there. We have not yet seen the Maga Sister spot in Zot. I feel like that would be a last case ditch effort to try and avoid Antlion. So say this is a terminating key item or just a normal piece of loot, and you really want to try fading Antlion. You're already over here by Zot. Maybe you peek Maga Sisters, and I still believe we haven't seen Mist Cave from either of these runners.
Yeah. Given the way that these runners are going, I imagine that we'll get those boss checks before Antlion happens. Though one of them could just be like, nope, I'm tapping out. We're going to go call that off because I think it's required at this point.
There's also always the possibility for D-Mist at that King Queen Evelyn spot. We do have that hook. Nice use of a kamikaze to get through this fight. Gonna get some lovely harp music. So, Leggy, I will speak to you on the other side of this sweet tune brought to you by DJ Spoony B. Lovely Secret of Mana music. While that was going on, White Two Sky got the Wyvern down, receives his adamant, and PK gets a ribbon.
Okay, so my Commentator's Curse was a little delayed, but it got there.
All right, so this means one of 2 things. There's a D-Mist hiding somewhere with our next step of progression, or we're not getting the meta objective this week.
And honestly, at this point, it's starting to look very, very bad for that meta objective.
But that's okay. If it's not fulfilled this week, it'll stay active. And once it is met, that's when it'll go into effect. That box is not going away.
I'm going to laugh if Antlion is not actually required, but everyone checks it anyway because no one wants to do Maga Sisters.
I just really badly want to see Magus Sisters demist. I've always wanted it, and if that was the case in this seed, which would enable fading of Antlion, I would be happy that I'm on push to talk.
And Mist Cave has...
Oh, an alt gauntlet. All right, demist at Magus Sisters, PK? Or are you just gonna suck it up and go Antlion? Now, here's the thing. If this isn't required and it does end up being demist at Magus Sisters, by virtue of PK checking this, even if he finishes in the top 3, even if he resets out, that is not considered fading Antlion.
Yeah, because fading Antlion means you never even go in.
Well, you can go in, you can loot, you can even peek the boss to see who's here, but you cannot see what the key item is.
Yeah. Well, it's a Valvalis, which gets one shot by Excalibur, you know, as you do.
And there's our progression, presumably. This could still terminate with a demist at Magus Sisters or a demist at King Queen Eblin.
Oh, right, I forgot about the King Queen Eblin spot. That would be even more hilarious, honestly, at this point, given the fact that we got the early hook after a starting Magma Key, so that's not even on any racer's mind at this point. Anyway, we have our Secret of Mana music redux, so I'm going to go quiet again. Anyway, in the time it took Y2 Sky to clear out, we have PK finding Vanilla Darkness.
Is this even randomized? Zoe Vanillion in the house.
What?
All right, so this doesn't necessarily mean that this was required, because the moon could be haunted, but chances are looking good that the randomizer decided that Antlion was required tonight. But look at it this way. The meta objective forced us to see Antlion clears more than an hour into a seed. I think they're already doing their job.
Yeah. And like, imagine how different the seed might have looked if a runner said, heck it, I'm going straight to Antlion, found that early darkness crystal.
Yeah, because with the meta objective only need to be met by one of the top 3 racers, if someone's just gunning for the win, they can ignore the meta objectives entirely and do what they want to try and get that win. That was an oversight in my rules when I first wrote this, because initially it had to be the winner that did it, and I was like, well, that's just never going to happen. So I made it top 3.
Yeah. Y2 Sky going to find that alt gauntlet down here in the Mist Cave. as PK is running Vanilla Darkness out.
White Sky, will you check Magus or King Queen Eblin, or are you going to also give up on the meta objective?
Checking Waterfall.
You already know this is own.
Might have forgotten.
It has been an hour.
Yeah, it's been an hour, and race nerves are very real.
I know that I will occasionally check Mist Cave and go back later and be like, what was here again?
Yeah. Luckily, they're fairly fast checks. But no, Y2 Sky is deciding enough of this Fade Antlion tomfoolery.
Yep, so neither of our restreamed racers, in the event that it is a really rude D-Mist holding the Legend Sword or the path to the Legend Sword, neither of them will be triggering the meta objective tonight, and that's okay.
Yeah, there's always next week, and the next week, and the next week.
I am quite unironically looking forward to these meta objectives just piling up. I believe when we were talking about this idea and ways to make it interesting, you and I had talked about runners, when there's like 6 or 7 meta objectives, working together on who is going to do what meta objective, hoping to finish top 3 to try and clear some of them out.
Looks like PK is going back into Evelyn Cave, probably to buy those Bacchus we found earlier.
PK is going cave, even if he finds the D-Mist here, if he goes that far, by virtue of already clearing Antlion, will not fulfill it, but could satisfy our curiosity.
So the meta objective stack, in so much as if one does not get met, it sticks around, and as long as a top 3 finisher does whatever any given meta objective, that objective will then be considered met. So if Antlion Cave sticks around, but there's 3 other ones, and someone manages to get a top 3 time that finishes 2 of them, both of those count as top 3 times for the purposes of fulfilling those meta objectives.
It is one more element to add to what will presumably already be the chaos that is Enterprise Legacy.
Indeed. Oh, and I am really, really excited to see what could have been, both in terms of this Moon shop, but also this Moon character.
Yep. Notably, we don't have permajoin on. We've seen that already. So if we come across someone that you want in your party more than what you already have, you are more than able to pick them up and dismiss someone else. Y2 Sky is nearing the bottom of the sealed cave, and we'll soon be seeing the bad news that the Antlion led to darkness all along. And yeah.
Now, of course, picking up this darkness crystal in this spot behind this boss does mean that this wouldn't be something our runners would have been able to get super early on. So even if the Fade Antlion hadn't been in play, I imagine our runners wouldn't have done this until a fair bit into the seed, especially with this Ogopogo here.
Yeah, absolutely. Rather than rewarding darkness directly, this is kind of best case scenario. If you see this and you're worried about your chances of still winning, knowing that this wouldn't have been able to be cleared out until later anyway, this is actually good news.
Yeah, that really helpful Ogopogo hit on Zoe. I'm taking away your vanilla bottle.
Zoe Vanillion in the house.
You're lucky I love it. It is, in fact, the finest of the flavors.
It even looked like that food palette even looks like one of the vanilla Tootsie Rolls.
I love you so, so much, and I hope you know this.
I have to wonder why by this point. PK appears to be going bottom up here, unless he's choosing to make the Demarine play and checking Wyvern spot first.
It could be possible, but bottom up is technically the numbers game. He is looking for exactly one key item at this point. So going down and doing the ribbon room where one boss will lead to two different key items does make a certain amount of logic, especially because it puts you in the proximity of three other quick checks.
Yep.
Well, I say quick, but these bosses can be rude.
And also, PK is up to 10 key items now, so is Y2 Sky, so they will be getting double experience. So the ribbon room is a gigantic chunk of experience, and with 2 Excal Cecils, a Rosa, a Yang, you may not even be super worried about doing a proper grind. You might just kill some moon bosses to get that experience that you want.
Yeah, the other interesting thing of note for PK is if you look down at the tracker, both of our runners are 9 key items.
2, 4...
No, 10.
Yeah.
The adamant is split up.
That's what I was just saying.
I heard you say killing the moon bosses. I missed the part where you gave the count.
It is fine. If you can love me for my bad jokes, I can love you for not being able to count. Oh,
Zoe?
Vanilla!
Look, I'm a math major. We lose the ability to do basic number stuff.
I mean, I was a math major too. It's fine.
Yeah, so we have the Lunar Dragons, the Draco Liches in various remakes. So this is going to be exciting. They are weak to the Holy Sword, which is nice.
Also weak to the Fire Claw, and if PK has that Earth Hammer on, I think his Sid is cursed, but the fire damage from the Earth Hammer would be very well done as well. But those viruses hit hard.
Yup.
I mean, Gambit, that is the lore, is that this is... Hey, look, free boss. Yeah, you have 2 Cecils, this will be fine. That is the lore that, rather than this being vanilla, the characters and the in-universe player have discovered the randomizer.
Yeah, so PK making good use of the Paladin Cecil bonking karate to instantly end the fight, getting a Zeus gauntlet for his trouble. That's not what he wants to see, but it's still a really nice piece of equipment.
Yeah, an additional 10 strength to one of these Excal Cecils or this Yang if you choose to use it in that fashion. Definitely a good damage boost. That's at least 1 strength multiplier as well as some attack power. So that is pretty beefy.
It looks like Y2 Sky is also going to be picking up some of those Bacchus down here in Cave Evelyn. Look to be doing a little bit of shopping at a couple of various places before going up to that moon.
PK looking at his party, looking at his equipment, maybe trying to think about taking on these D-Lunars again. Has the Fire Claw on now to take advantage of the weakness. I don't believe he had it on before. So going for the Bacchus strat, not even going to try and use power to get through it. Just going to hopefully not eat too many viruses.
Yeah, with that party of 4 physical fighters plus the Rosa for white magic support, just going power overwhelming with the Berserks seems fairly optimal. Waiting on the Tier 3 to see where the different viruses fall to make sure that its use is maximized.
Yeah.
Just really heads-up play from PK in this fight.
Yeah, and board AI playing nice, not hitting the same person with both viruses. That Cure 3 did come out a bit weak Don't believe Rosa really has much in the way of will boosting gear on. So this virus will potentially kill anybody it hits, except for Sid. And if this one hits Yang, no.
That hits another Cecil, unfortunately. But I think what PK really needs here is for one of those D-looters to go down ASAP.
Yep, each one has 21,000 hit points, and as we say it, the bottom one does go down, so it can no longer bounce viruses off. We'll be using a lot more of this fire attack, leaving Cecil... Oh, can still bounce it. I forgot you can still target yourself with it. It goes to show how often I actually am good at this game, because I forget boss scripts all the time.
This is getting a little spicy as those fires are coming out. It's 1 monk versus the dragon.
And he's done it. While Watu Sky finds some sirens here in the Hemingway shop.
Pan and a spoon. The shield special behind the Draco Liches.
Did they turn the ribbon room into the kitchen?
I'm trying to find a good word for chef that starts with a D, and I'm coming up blank.
DiGiorno.
Yeah, there we go. Wait, what?
So PK here with the pan in hand. I'm actually surprised he's not save scumming this, because that is 2 key item checks. Y2 Sky is checking value cave. Maybe wants to save first. There we go.
Yeah, I actually do appreciate this gamble from Y2 Sky, especially if he's feeling a little bit behind. Coming in here, wanting to see what's down here. If it's something that's relatively easy and slash or cheesable, you know, he can grab it, and if he's lucky enough, this could even be that legend sword he needs.
I mean, this is the king of monsters, just not quite the king we were looking for. But this isn't bad at all. This spot is the highest physical attack in the game, tied with CPU and Leviathan spots. But Leviathan doesn't have any physical attacks in his script. Notably, he only casts Wave, he casts Ice 2. There is a part of his script that he casts Mazer as if he were CPU, but it's never utilized, so I have to wonder if they were just copying pasting boss scripts when they created this game.
I mean, some days you just gotta get your, boss scripts in.
Yeah, and PK with Magus is here at the Ogopogo spot. This is a very rude spot for the Magus Sisters. Their magic hits incredibly hard here. Even these level 2 spells hitting for nearly 3,000 damage. Not really holding on to any good mage killing weapons. No good Quake or anything like that. Gets down Mindy though. If he can take down Cindy, he'll have to potentially deal with a charm. But he definitely doesn't want to leave. He doesn't want to leave Cindy up. Otherwise, Cindy will resurrect her sisters. Yeah, Rosa does have a silence death, it appears. I had missed that part. And Y2 Sky takes down Leviathan, so we'll see if there is value in Cave Bahamut today. There is value in the form of a white robe, which will give Rosa some beefiness to her heals and some more magic defense for Zeromus, but it's not what you're looking for. Meanwhile, PK gets through the Magus Sisters, gets a cool 120-something thousand experience, and finds yet another rabbit hole in the form of the Baron key. So at this point, we have every key item location available to us, aside from the Earth Crystal and wherever D-Mist is hiding. So there is still a couple spots here on the moon. You've got the Pan, you've got the Baron key. What do you do, PK? Y2 Sky finding that nice scoop of vanilla in the form of Fusoya. PK going to go straight down to the Sylph Cave, going to bonk Yang with this pan, return it to Sheila for a total of 2 key items. If he gets the Legend Sword here, just go ahead and forge and won't have to go to Sheila too. So let's see what happens. All right, PK finds the monk in the bed, grabs the pan, gives him a nice thwack over the head, and the Sylph says, "Thank you for thwacking my friend. Here, have this package. Go burn down a town." Sounds like a very Faye thing to do. All sorts of mischief.
Or take this war crime.
And Y2 Sky, after doing Cave Bahamut, is going top down here on the moon. Going to be showing us who is at the Murasame altar and what key item is here. PK likely leaving us safe here by Baron. Going to go check Sheila too, and if it is not what he's looking for, we'll reset back.
I mean, that package.
Oh, all right. So Antlion was required. We have found our D-Mist here at the Murasame spot.
I was just about to really hope for package demons. Dang it! Dang you, Y2 Sky, ruining my hopes.
On the bright side, this keeps me from having to proof check 3 VODs looking for a completed meta objective.
Error. Sheila just has some sharpened Hanzo steel, and since we are at a complete lack of ninja, PK resets out of it.
I'm willing to bet the ninja is here in Baron.
Ninja go, ninja go, ninja go. But yeah, D-Mist is an interesting boss at this stage of the game, especially given that the Cecils are throwing around holy weapons, which D-Mist actually resists.
Yep. Also very punchy, and you can only get so many swings in before she goes into her mist phase. And if you attack, then you get hit with a annoying counterattack. Not necessarily like deadly, but it wastes time.
Yeah, definitely a frustrating counterattack, to say the least.
Having this Fuin party, though, having cleared out enough bosses to have him fully online, the nuke is a welcome addition to this damage.
So, if Fu is online, what do you think his Twitter handle is?
Can I say Royal Blue Wizard?
I mean,
he's blue and he's a wizard, and I assume he's Lunarian royalty.
Yeah, but his robes aren't a royal blue; they're more of a light blue.
No, it's not royal blue the color. He is a royal blue wizard.
That's fair.
This is going over the heads of people who are not aware of who RBW is.
Yes. RBW, wonderful friend of both Zoe and myself. PK showing us who the throne is, and it looks like it's a couple of imps.
3 imps in a trench coat. Will not be a problem here. Y2 Sky has this D-Mist fight fairly stabilized, but it is taking a while. Now, if either this spot or D-Mist or Rydia's mom herself has that Legend Sword, then the time investment is moot.
Indeed. No matter who gets here, no matter how good their stuff is, this is probably going to be a long fight. This spot has enough HP that you can't just blitz through it no matter what. I do not think PK is taking a Tella.
Yep. Question from chat: why wouldn't PK check the package here? The package only is a character check and a boss check. It does not reward a key item, and it does have 2 fairly lengthy cutscenes. So maybe peeking it if you were looking for a particular character, then you would check it, or if you were looking for demist as like a last resort, you could also check it.
PK is going to find whatever those 3 imps threw away last week in everyone's favorite Baron trash can. And I imagine if this isn't exactly the Legend Sword, he goes back in right away and checks the Odin spot.
And it is a white spear, a nice weapon to find, but not the holy weapon that you're looking for. So having already ditched his cane, doesn't particularly care. But as you predicted, going right back in to check Odin. Gambit in chat saying that is Kane's best weapon. The defense sword would absolutely disagree with you.
Party rock is in the house tonight.
All right, so that's another key item check on top of the demist Rydia's mom check. Those 2 characters, that might be where our edge is hiding. We still have also not seen a Palom or a Rydia. But we find that King Odin was playing with his dolls again and just left them on the throne.
Maybe he was just 6 puppets in a trench coat all along. But it looks like Whitey Sky is going back in rather than popping down to check Rydia's mom and or the Green Rock right away.
Might be checking the Wyvern spot, maybe leaving a save down at the bottom before exiting out. Seems to be a fan of gambles, but might just be dedicated to a full clear of the moon at this point.
Yeah, I don't hate running down and leaving a save or 2 to go check those. Depends how hard you want to gamble here.
Yeah, Zod is a huge time investment for only 1 key item. But you do also have that demist check lingering. PK clearing out the final doll here. Is this our Legend Sword?
It is an Avenger.
Oh, PK, you have 2 Cecils. Like, I know you have 2 Excals, and I know you have a stack of Bacchus wines, but the Avenger. Man, you can also go grab that cane and have a White Spear Avenger cane, but yeah.
Yeah, was not what he was looking for. Definitely heading straight back up to the moon. And it looks like White Sky is doing exactly what you were saying about going down, leaving the save, and then hopping back on that big whale.
Chad disagreeing with my insistence that PK keeps the Avenger. This is why you got farther in the 3-miss zone than I did, Antidale. You make better choices. At this point, if PK goes top down for these final few checks, we are guaranteed a 17 out of 17 seed here.
Yeah, between the pair of runners.
No, even if PK will get the Earth Crystal and then has to find the Legend Sword and get the crystal to win.
Oh, dang, yeah. I just took another glance over that tracker and I'm like, oh, right, yeah, wow, we did get a lot of key items here.
Yeah.
The demist is just a protect ring.
Yep. Also, our runners have been keeping our wonderful tracker on their toes. Shoutouts to Nth behind the scenes. You've been doing a fantastic job in making me and Leggy's job real easy when we need to talk about key items.
So we've got 2 checks left then, right?
We have Zot and we have the Wyvern spot, and that is it.
So, chat, get your gambles in today.
And a small peek behind the curtain here. As I mentioned earlier, these are our two restreamed racers, but this race has 33 people in it. We don't have a finisher yet.
And given what we've seen, that makes a lot of sense. You have a number of runners putting off doing Antlion to the last possible second, and that just happens to be our Darkness Crystal. Wyvern on exactly the king of the Feymarch has one half of the forge, and the other half has to be either off the Earth Crystal at D-Mist at Murasame altar, or off whatever's at the Wyvern altar.
And we only have a few boss spots available, and a few bosses that we haven't seen. Ones that come to mind: we have not seen Leg, we have not seen Quarter Leg, we have not seen our Water Hag or our Officer Soldier. I believe we have not seen any of those.
Yeah, I mean, I could always turn my webcam on.
No, it wouldn't do anything. It just wouldn't be on the stream. I mean, I could turn around and see Leg, but that doesn't help the chat.
Y2 Sky going for everyone's favorite Lunar Frog strat.
Ribbit.
Definitely not croaking.
So this actually plays out very well for Y2 Sky. These X-Cal Cecils will be hitting very hard against these little froggies, and they can no longer cast their virus. So this is effectively free at this point.
Yeah, just get to sit back, relax, and hit for nearly 8k.
Yep, and there go the froggies. Cool 200,000 experience to these characters, and we will be seeing Y2 Sky loop to the kitchen, getting the spoon in the pan.
Y2 Sky looking at this outcome, sitting there thinking, I don't know what to do here.
Yeah, PK gets the Earth Crystal, realizes, well, it's either the Wyvern spot or it's Zot. Exiting out, this doesn't necessarily predict a Zot play. It is faster to exit out here and then walk back in for a Wyvern spot. But it looks like he's going Zot.
Well, at the very least, he's going down to check D-Mist.
Oh, that's true. But
which we know is not the play, but PK has not made that check yet. Y2 Sky coming in, finding the free karate.
Yeah, and I feel that with PK already on the blue planet, checking Zot might be on his mind after checking D-Mist, rather than resetting back up and having to sit through that moon cutscene yet again.
Did he not leave a save?
I believe he probably has a save somewhere, but he didn't save before he jumped into the whale. No. He might have saved when he first got back to the moon. And resets out. And realizing, oh, he hasn't checked Cave Bahamut.
Ah.
So PK thinks it could still be here. So at this point, both our racers are actually still pretty even. They both have one more check here on the moon, and then the Zot check. PK has two. They each have one check plus Wyvern plus Zot is what I meant.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see, because the longer they put off that Zot play, the more and more they are going to be kicking themselves a little bit when they finally do go up that tower.
Chat pointing out that Y2 Sky will also have the Baron checks available. That is true. So PK has an advantage in a number of checks already done. I'd be interested to see if it is not Wyvern Altar, if Y2 Sky maybe does Zot before Baron. It is slower and less key items, but after completing Zot, you are put right outside of Baron, so that has some small potential value.
Yeah, and at this point, I think Y2 Sky is fairly committed to finishing off the moon.
Yeah, I imagine both our runners will be converging at the Crystal Sword Altar. Y2 Sky will get the Baron Key here. Could take the gamble to just leave and check that. But isolating that one last moon check is very risky.
Yeah, PK getting that white shirt instantly resets out of it. Goes back into the whale.
Zot, Zot, Zot. Saying, I don't want to do Crystal Sword Altar. Let's go see if it's Zot.
I don't want to do Crystal Sword Altar. You can't make me.
So this could be the deciding factor between our two restreamed runners here. If Y2 Sky decides to do the Wyvern Altar before leaving the moon, and it has the Legend Sword, he will be in go mode. If Zot has it, PK will be in go mode.
Yeah, at this point, I think a valid line of thinking would be, I've got all of these key items that lead to all of these checks back on the blue planet. Another valid thought is, I've got one last moon boss to kill before I never have to come back to this accursed rock.
He's not exiting out. He's leaving a save. So this save here says that he is going to exit out, because otherwise you would just save before the Wyvern spot, and that is exactly what Y2 Sky does. So we'll be checking the Earth checks, likely Baron before Zot, which will keep him behind PK. But PK will give us our answer very soon, because if he's not in go mode after this, he's going back to the moon.
Indeed. But of course, if it is the tower and Y2 Sky does decide to save on transit time by going straight up to Troya, this could go any number of directions at this point.
Going towards Baron, though, will be disappointed, but mathematically, or save's coming.
Leave the save. Goes under.
Oh, the pan.
Ah, yes.
Has not yet checked the pan.
Yeah, going to get the Hanzo Steel, and I forget what the Sylphs had.
The Sylphs had package.
Got it.
Oh, there's our Palom.
Yeah. Do you want to take a Quake Kid?
It doesn't have to be a Quake Kid.
Later, bye. Oh, both are Black Mages are
Well,
here.
the Tower of Zod is the Tower of Black Mages in this seed.
And we do have that Bahamut Orb, though I'm assuming both of our runners sold it off a while ago.
Yeah, neither of these Black Mages will be joining us. We have a pretty good Zerker party set up here. No room for any mages. And there's our water hag. There's the hag. 3 hits and this fight will be over, and we'll have our answer. This was a very free Zot between Bahamut and Water Hag. Neither boss, even if you had no levels, would put up too much of a fight.
Going, if only Earth Crystal wasn't on the moon.
Y2 Sky is back on the moon.
Again, I don't hate it. I don't hate saying, okay, I like Y2 Sky going down and checking his free checks, and then coming back up here and saying, okay, I want to finish off the moon.
This right here, what we see on PK's side, will decide these two runners, I believe. There it is.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
So PK is in go mode. PK will be getting 17 out of 17 key items, and we have our first finisher of this race. The first winner of Enterprise Legacy, a Stone Dingley, has finished with a time of 1 hour, 42 minutes, and 13 seconds.
What a log of the seed.
I'm so happy. What did you expect? I rolled it.
A hook rat, mostly.
Look, you either get a hook rat or you get a vanilla Cecil start. You got your vanilla Cecil start.
Fair. PK has his crystal, and it's now time to ask the ultimate question. But unfortunately, it's already been answered. No, the meta objective is not able to be met this seed.
Unfortunately not, but PK will be forcing us to ask yet another question. Has the pass in hand? So honestly, this is a 17 out of 17 seed, but it's really like 18 out of 17.
Yeah, anyway, Zoe, since this is your baby, I will leave the final question to you.
Of course. Well, given the lore behind Enterprise Legacy, there's only one question I can truly ask here, and that is, when is Butt tonight? Also, whose butt are we kicking? We have a second place finisher. Dia has finished with a time of 1 hour, 43 minutes, and 59 seconds. GG's to Dia. Also, PK, your Rosa has a heroin robe on. Are you going Quint?
Quint.
And we finally see what was at the Wyvern altar. It was a glass hat. Y2 Sky does not yet know that it is Zot, but knows that it is not on the moon.
We have a third place finisher. Woo Bear finishes with a time of 1 hour, 44 minutes, and 39 seconds.
Yep, seems like we're starting to get a flurry of finishers here. We will keep y'all updated as long as we are on the restream.
Which shouldn't be too much longer. Y2 Sky is probably going to clear out Baron, probably going to go clear out the Odin spot afterwards before going Zot, which makes a lot of sense.
In the first legacy butt, I love it. We have Sudokus. Now, here's my challenge to you, chat. Can you finish this Sudoku before PK finishes the fight?
Is it solvable?
Probably not. It depends on if you have special rules. We also have a fourth place finisher. Solaris has finished with a time of 1 hour, 45 minutes, and 30 seconds. Yeah, I feel like chat is on the right track that the 4s and 2s might be indicative of what Final Fantasy game we're playing.
Wait, this is an FF7?
No. We've been over this, Leggy.
But I just saw, the edgy boy with the big sword, and I assumed.
There is no edge in this party. Open your eyes.
Yeah, he's a paladin now.
Y'all see what I have to deal with? It's every day. Every day. But it's okay because I love her.
I love you too. I mean, Scala, there could be. Well, not anymore, but there could have been.
Y2 Sky has finished Baron Castle. We'll get some further bad news as he's like, there's only so many spots left. Where's this legend sword?
Yeah, maybe Sephiroth is the real friends we made.
I'm gonna interrupt you. We got Quint. PK giving us a Quint strat here. You love to see it. Meanwhile, we have a 5th place finisher. Commander Leonhardt has finished with a time of 1 hour, 47 minutes, and 52 seconds.
I love that. If I can't fade Lion, I'm going to at least Quint.
Dia, did you not check Mount Hobbs? Dia was in chat saying, wait, there's a Rosa?
Apparently not.
Well, GG's Dia for your 2nd place finish. Apparently without a Rosa.
I mean, there was the Porum. You had a white mage.
And PK has finished in 6th place with a time of 1 hour, 48 minutes, and 45 seconds. Our first finisher here on the restream tonight. GG's in chat for PK while we see if we can get him in for an interview.
And it looks like we are joined by PK. GG's. How you feeling?
To the moon and back again, and then back to the moon, and then back to Earth, and then back to the moon.
Yeah.
It was a fun scene.
Back to the moon, unfortunately via Antlion.
Yeah, I almost just went for the meme play of going up Earth Crystal to see if D-Mist was at the first spot, just to continue the Fade Antlion play. But
yeah, we had talked about that and the King Queen spot potentially holding D-Mist.
But I mean, technically, it was D-Mist with the Earth Crystal that led you to the Legend Sword.
It was when I didn't see any, when I hadn't seen any Duns, I figured it's either, Cave Bahamut or Earth Crystal. It's not going to be Crystal Sword, which I, exited out of. So I think going to Leviathan cost me a few minutes, but I mean, you gotta make some choice there. There's too much power to be afraid of anything. It was just, Excals go burr.
Yeah. Push APK. So yeah, this was exciting. This was really fun to commentate. Both you and Y2 Sky avoided Antlion like the plague, and based off of some of these finish times, I think everyone else was on board with you. So what do you think of the meta objective kind of influencing people's decision making?
I wasn't gonna go to Antlion anyway.
Well, yeah, that's why you're on the restream.
I really enjoy it. in theory, I think it's a great idea. I think something like fading antlion is a fun way to, get some people out of maybe their comfort zone or, your typical way of routing a seed. I don't even think it really hurt getting darkness that late there, because I probably wouldn't have done that wyvern until way later. So, I'm looking forward to seeing what other ideas you have up your sleeve, Zoe.
Yeah. So, obviously, you came in 6th, so you won't get the opportunity to influence the flags this week. But what are you looking for out of that sort of updates for next week?
I hadn't put all that much thought into it. I'd seen a lot of commentary on things. I definitely think playing around with the shops, it could greatly influence the difficulty of these seeds. There are obviously some very mean shop settings. We didn't find sirens unless they were in Kakols today, but I was expecting with that early magma for this to be a much different seed as far as speed went.
Sirens were in Hummingway shop.
Oh, they were. Okay, yeah, I didn't check the moon shop. But I think, playing around with the shops, I think playing around with something like unsafe, you can take treasure and you can do a lot of really mean things with treasure. How much things sell for. There are a lot of ways to incrementally move this. Not even necessarily more difficult, but just in directions that it sort of mix up what we're starting with here for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that I'm looking forward to. I have, as the game master, I have a certain level of influence over the flags each week, but I don't have any control over the winner's choice aside from a few things that I have restricted just so that this doesn't steer immediately into like Kata territory. We'll see. I'm as excited as anybody to see what a Stone Dingley picks to be the flag that is altered from his victory. Speaking of finishes, though, we have had 3 more finishes. Ground Flyer finished 7th, time of 1 hour 49 minutes 54 seconds. Flurry in 8th with a 1:50:24, and Infinius in 9th after 3 attempts of trying to do done of a 1:52:52.
Finished 4th in duns and well, thank you for putting this on. I mean, Saturday has been vacant of free enterprise, and I'm definitely a fan of this rotating concept, and I'm very excited to continue playing it moving forward.
And before we go any further, for people in chat that are wondering, Infinius is a close friend of mine. I tease because I care. I'm not trying to call him out.
He's a great person. But all right, you all have a great night. I'm gonna lick my wounds and try to find some more Excalibur somewhere.
All right. Well, thank you, PK. Thank you for racing in this first race. It was exciting. I was happy to have you on the restream. We have 2 more finishers here, a mere 3 seconds apart. Poydrak in 10th with a 1:54:37, and Pixel Tamer with a 1:54:40.
Yeah, as Y2 Sky gets his legend from the Tower of Zot, it's always the last place you look for it. But gonna hop underground, get that crystal forged, and then go kick a butt to wrap it up for the evening. What a seed to start this racing club off, dear.
Yeah, I'm excited. Going forward, I am eligible to compete in these races, and I look forward to doing so. So you won't have to listen to me every week. But for this inaugural episode, I thought it was fitting that both myself and Leggy were here to kind of explain the concept, being the 2 that are most knowledgeable in it. So I am personally excited to jump into the other side of this and experience what it is that I am subjecting our community to.
Yeah, because I mean, if you're gonna dish it out, you got to be able to take it.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna be sitting up here like an evil DM just making things awful for stuff I don't have to do.
I mean, that's what I
I'm
would
gonna be racing these.
So, you know. So, Y2 Sky is going to do the last minute bits of equipping and getting ready to solve a Sudoku with absolute violence. You know, I would be down for the Secret Troya Sudoku Club. I don't know about you, chat. But we're coming in for the second butt kicking of the night. Please hold while we handle this a little bit of technical difficulty. But, oh, hey, we're back.
I think we're back. Okay, I'm seeing
Yeah, we're
gameplay.
back.
I see a timer moving. All right, cool. We're here just in time to see Y2 Sky solve a Sudoku.
I already made that joke.
Oh, I missed it. I was looking at something else.
Yeah. Specifically, we're going to solve the Sudoku with incredible powers of violence. More like, you know, Zoodoku. Really should be one of those weird Sudokus that has, like, the digits 0 to 9, but you have to, like, squeeze one in a weird spot. I've been watching, because Zoe got me addicted to watching Sudoku solving, so, like, this is shockingly appropriate, but there are some wild things people are doing out there with Sudoku puzzles. Going for a Excal Venger on the top Cecil. Getting that off right away. And it looks like the other two boys are going to Zerk up while Rosa throws out a Silk Web. Unfortunately, the counter nuke goes straight onto the Rosa, but she does stay standing. Ooh, and then the Big Bang comes out right on its heels. It should be nerfed, but Rosa stays up, which isn't that big of a deal. We do have the Fusoya around, and there's the Gear 4 coming out from him straight onto that Rosa. Cecil swings for 49-20. Kane for 2,200 exactly, Cecil for 3,150. So this should be over relatively soon, especially with that Silk Web out.
Yeah, absolutely. Should be over real soon. Meanwhile, we have had a few other finishers. We've had Frankie Bones finishing in 12th, the 157.17, Klopfer with a 158.31 coming in 13th, and Bad Karma finishing just over 2 hours in with a 2 hour and 7-second finish.
7-second.707.
Yeah, lots of sevens and zeros in that finish time.
Microcords has finished in 15th with a 2 hour, 48-second time.
Rex Roll has finished with a time of 2 hours and 1 minute.
Looks like I got excited. I saw Y2K's Zoroma shake. But no, that was just queuing up the next Big Bang.
And Frostbite finishing 2 hours, 1 minute, 12 seconds in 17th. Lord Bobry, 3 seconds behind, 2 hours, 1 minute, 15 seconds.
Here comes a Big Bang for Y2 Sky. Unnerfed, but not an issue. And that's it. Y2 Sky finishes in 19th place with a time of 2 hours, 1 minute, and 21 seconds. And I believe we are joined by Y2 Sky. GG's.
Thanks. Wow. It's fun playing the entire game, guys.
Yeah. I mean, some days you just gotta go for a hundo.
Yeah, like you got 17 out of 17 and a pass. Did what, every boss check? Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I still like most of my routing decisions, except the when safe scumming the moon. I think probably should have safe scum before walking down. But other than that, I don't know. I think I like those routing decisions any other time. It's just rando is rando.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, your thoughts on the Antlion meta objective?
I held off on it as long as I could. I drew the line at Earthless Zotchek.
Yeah, you and PK both. That's what we were talking about in the booth when both y'all decided to go to Antlion. You were actually, like, your routing was incredibly close to PK, probably up until the point where you got darkness and things started to diverge. But it was very apparent that that meta objective was in both of y'all's minds. And based on some of these finish times, I think that was a trend we saw throughout at least most of these runners here.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just felt I guess some of my spots in my run might be a little slow, especially if that's a route a lot of people took, but still ended up in the bottom half. So I'll definitely be reviewing this one and see which fights I was kind of lacking on.
Well, it was well played overall. I think in this particular flag set, there's a lot of variance because you're looking for just the 2 key items. I know a lot of racers, in talking about their practice for this, mentioned that they ran to 17 out of 17 a lot. We'll see if that changes next week with the flag changes. Hopefully the standard deviation of finishes kind of lowers a bit and things get a bit more tightly grouped. But I was impressed by your gameplay, and it was entertaining throughout.
Thanks. Yeah, that's what we're here for, is to be entertaining. So, and I love every minute of it. So, appreciate the opportunity.
Leggy, any last thoughts?
Outside of, I'm super excited to see how these flags change and evolve for next week. And to thank you for hanging out with me in the booth today. It's always a pleasure spending time with you, love.
It's always a pleasure spending time with you. Thank you to both of our restreamed runners, PK and Y2 Sky, for allowing us to use their game feeds tonight. Thank you to Skullakitty for doing the restream work behind the scenes, and Nth, you did a fantastic job your first time tracking, especially because you had to light up every single button. Well done. Before I send you off onto this raid, I do want to catch people up with some of the finishes here. Dr. Cossack finished in 20th with a time of 2 hours, 2 minutes, and 4 seconds. Jay Brunter, 21st, 2:02:30. Area, I hope I got that right. 22nd, 2:03:14. A nice little pie there. And Oscar Edwin, 23rd, within a time of 2 hours, 3 minutes, 27 seconds. And Smapedy sniping me as I'm trying to do the sign off. 24th, 2 hours, 5 minutes, 23 seconds. We are going to send you off on a raid to one of the racers still racing. That is Marty56. Do not spoil anything about this seed. Let Marty finish of his own volition and his own skill set. But wish him the best of luck. Throw out your energy, give energies and stuff like that. We will be back next week with this. We will also be back Monday night with the community race for next week. So hope to see you in either of those. And I hope you have a wonderful night. Leggy is getting pizza, so she can't sign off.
Bye!
Good night, everybody.